On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick return after a 2-week break to Shikari. Find out what they thought about the return of Star Wars to the big screen and if their Mando and Grogu predictions hit. Punch it, Chewie. Hey now, everybody! Yippee yahoo! We are back. We're not dead. This old man that screams at clouds has returned. Young Nick is in the co-pilot seat. Both our beards have gotten a little more gray over these past 2 weeks, which is weird. I was 2 weeks at the beach. It was great, but I lived like rot of the hut. Let's just say that. I mean, a lot of eating, a lot of drinking. Didn't shave for 2 weeks. I get home and I shave. I'm like, holy shit! Like my facial hair got even more white over those 2 weeks, and it was stress free. It was fun. I just think it was all the fucking shitty food and drinking. It just like aged me. So. Yeah. Yeah, hey, it's good to be back. It's weird trying to settle back into life after a 2-week break. Have you done a 2-week vacation before, Nick?
Yeah. Last year was when we did our longer vacation in Italy and in London. So it is definitely hard to adjust to that. And then I got home, and I think technically I was off for 3 weeks because I took a week off of work leading into the 2-week break that we had. So yeah, that was quite the adjustment going back.
And this is like the first time in a long time where I had the 2 weeks fully off. I usually have to take some personal time and do like half days of work the second week we're there, but I had the full 2 weeks to just be a slob, and it was nice. But coming back and readjusting to real life has been a bit of a shock. Luckily, I have a job that is not a typical 9-to-5, so it's been nice to kind of slowly settle in. But hot damn, I am a little rusty. So we'll do our best tonight, bringing you our first live SWTS in really 3 weeks, if you think about it. 2 weeks, who knows? I can't count. 3 weeks sounds better, but we missed the launch of The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters, but we're here to finally bring our review to everyone today. We'll get to that here in a little bit. We're also going to revisit our kind of pre-release fan wants and predictions. Let's just say this might have been one of our worst speculations, predictions of all time, and maybe Star Wars Time Show history. I looked at some of our predictions, Nick, and not good. Let's just say we were far off our batting average for Maul Shadow Lord. I mean, we did not do too well. So.
Honestly, like when that happens, it kind of makes me happy because it means that people are doing, like the writers and the directors, they're doing things that you don't expect. That's not easy to guess what's going to happen. So I'm not upset at it. And when we get to our review of the movie, we'll let you know how we felt about it. But yeah, overall, like not too upset that we missed on some of those predictions.
All right. Yeah, some of them I could argue might have helped. Yellow there, Nomar, good to see you. Welcome to the SWTS. Yes, this is a Star Wars Time Show predominantly, but we are a podcast for a more uncivilized age. And as you see on the screen right now, if you're tuning into the live stream live, it doesn't look like Star Wars. And there's a reason for this. And if you're in our Discord community, which is open, just go ahead and check out the description of this YouTube video if you want to join and come play around in that cesspool. But for the past few months, it feels like the past year, we've had one of our Discord members, Spencer, really beating the drum for Dungeon Crawler Carl. And it almost got on it didn't almost. It became annoying. I had to create him his own channel within our Discord, and other members joined it, and they were talking left and right, and it was just nuts. I was like, Dungeon, you got to read it. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. I was reading some Asimov's books, and I'm kind of weird. Once I start something, I kind of want to go through the whole series. But when I went on this vacation, I picked up the first book of Dungeon Crawler Carl from Matt Dinneman. And after I finished some Asimov homework that I really needed to get done, I finally dipped into book one. And as I was telling young Nick before we went live, I don't think I've read a book that fast in my entire life. I started at the very end of my vacation and I finished it last night. So it wasn't even a full week of reading. I did listen to a bit of the audio version, courtesy of a friend. I'm not going to go ahead and blab about it, but I got access to the audio version to just kind of keep consuming DCC while I was working out, even though I do prefer holding and reading it. But I'm sold, man. I get it. Like I kind of get Spencer's enthusiasm and our boy Kramer and Divided Skywalker. Like I can see where their level of fandom comes from now. I'm only one book in, but I immediately bought book two. Got it right here. Show and tell, hardback even. And I find this series so far to be an absolute thrill to read. I like Nick was saying earlier, this Dinniman guy just knows how to write well. He speaks my language. It's not politically correct. It's they call it what, lit RPG, like literature RPG. I guess this is a new flavor of writing, but I couldn't stop turning the damn pages. I love Carl. Of course, I love Princess Donut. I call my girl Cat Donut sometimes because she's a little overweight, but it's a page turner, man. I mean, I love the announcers, the achievement unlocks, the loot boxes, because, you know, I'm a gamer, so I can just easily assimilate into this world that Dinniman has created. And I think at this point I'm going to zip through all 8. I can't stop. I want to know what happens on level 3, because the way book 1 ends, it just fucking ends. Like they accomplish some things, but they're just getting into the meat of what this story is about and what happened on planet Earth with the syndicate. So I know you got to it before me, and you kind of encouraged me, and that's why I did bring it on vacation. You're like, yo, man, I mean, I think you'll like it. It's like playing a video game, but you're reading it. So are you high on the DCC bandwagon like I am now?
Yeah. I'm almost finished the second book. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Like you said, if you're somebody who plays video games, then it's very easy to get into this type of story, because it really is just telling you a video game story in written form. So definitely have been enjoying it. Big fan of how Dinniman like created the characters and have, like, you know, continuously added characters to the story, and it hasn't felt like it's just trying to, you know, add somebody in for whatever sake or anything like that. Everything feels really smooth. It feels like everything was really thought out, and I've been enjoying where it goes. So I'm almost finished the second book, like I said, and I'll be starting the third book pretty soon. So yeah, I'm wrapped into it. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm glad that the Star Wars Time fandom really pushed us to get on the bandwagon here.
Yeah, I know we're a day late and a dollar short, but even said, I mean, this guy, I believe, just started writing these in 2020. He already has 8 books out. So, I mean, I don't know if he had been working on this over the years and just used a COVID break, because he kind of acknowledges it at the start of the book to finally vomit all this stuff up. But this Dinniman character is just ripping these things out left and right. So I'm excited to get into book 2. I know I'll be starting that tonight. Can't wait to see where things go. Yes, Kramer, I love Mongo, the little pet that Donut picks up, and Mordecai. I mean, Donut is just a fantastically written character. I mean, it's just exactly what you think a cat would be like if it called itself Princess Donut. So I don't know. It's excellent. And because the Star Wars topic well is drying up, maybe we'll be talking more about this, even though we, like I said, are many years late on some of these books. But who knows? Maybe we can introduce it to a new geek gamer out there, and they can kind of enjoy the world of Dungeon Crawler Carl. All right, my man, this is a Star Wars time show, so might as well talk a little bit about Star Wars. And the big thing happened when we were gone. It's unfortunate that Star Wars movies are back to May, or maybe it's fortunate for some people because that's how they Lucas initially launched it, back in the 70s. But if they keep doing these in May, we're always going to miss them because I kind of I have forced vacations as an educator. I can't really pick when I take my time off, and it's always going to be in May around Memorial Day, and that seems when Starfighter's coming out next year as well. But who cares? We're here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do our review, kind of, go through some things we might have saw or thought. And then we'll, like I said, we'll revisit our fan wants and predictions that we did a week before the movie came out. We try to do this with any new Star Wars property to see if we can soothsay it and just kind of express as fans what we hope to see in it. And then at the end, we kind of grade ourselves out. And like I said, spoiler alert, predictions not so hot. I mean, we might be shooting for a D or a failure on this one, but we'll see if they were warranted not to be in there, or if some of our predictions might have should have been in there to maybe juice the movie a bit, get the fan base a bit more excited. But Nick, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into the review. I'll let you kick it off, man. What did you think about this? I know we promised not to spoil each other and slack. I just said, hey man, I went, just to let you know I went, and you just gave me 2 thumbs back. And
Yep.
I think we had a brief conversation. It sounds like we both kind of enjoyed it, but let's really kind of deep dive into what we thought about this flick.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the movie gave me exactly what I wanted from it, and kind of what I expected from it, right? Like it was a fun movie. It could be enjoyed by anybody, regardless of whether you've seen the show or not. I think that it helps to see the show to understand the character journeys and understand how they got here and how they progressed to this point. But I think that as a contained film, it tells a story. It's easy to follow. It's fun. It's like quintessential like Star Wars. You have your duo, or your people that are going on a space adventure. You have the space adventure that happens. You have a bunch of different alien types that you get to interact with, and then you just have a good time. I feel like this movie, and maybe for better or for worse for some people, but this movie's like kind of hit the same notes that Solo did, like where it was a very focused story on one or two characters. Solo, one character with the addition of Kira that was introduced through the film. With Mando and Grogu, focus was on Mando and Grogu, right in the title, just like the Solo movie. It was a fun story, and realistically, it appealed to the audience that it was supposed to appeal to, which is the people that watch the TV show. So yeah, I mean, there's not too much else for me to say. I think that the ancillary characters like Kramer, like you just put up there, I think that Rada was very different than what I expected, but was a
Big
very
fan.
welcome addition to the Star Wars universe, changing up some of the stereotypes that you really think about when you think about Hutts, and when you think about Hutt affiliation and everything about them. Rada was definitely a breath of fresh air to the Hutt clan, and I think that it did a really good job of establishing these new characters, and bringing them into the fold, and then we'll be able to see what they do with the crew of the New Republic time period as we progress forward into the MandoVerse. So yeah, I mean, for me it was 2 thumbs up. Like Matt said, I would go see it again. I would recommend that anybody go see this film if you're a Star Wars fan, whether you've seen the Mandalorian TV show or not. I think it's a good time. I understand that the movie is called The Mandalorian and Grogu, and if you haven't seen the show, you're probably like, well, am I even going to understand what's going on? Just go see it. Just go see it. So, yeah, very good time.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I mean, if you're one of these angry Star Wars fans, you're not going to like anything else that ever comes out. So it's okay. I sympathize with you all a little bit, but at this point, some of your takes are tired. I've seen it all. Oh, it's just 2 episodes of the show. Disney's lost its way. I mean, even some of the professional critics just went out of their way to take a shit on it. But Nick's spot on. I mean, if you're just not an angry person and you just enjoy Star Wars for what Star Wars is, I think this was a super fun adventure. I mean, from start to finish. My man Grogu was amazing. I'll have to get into it with Nick here to think, if he's a little more up on Grogu. He's kind of we call him, he's a little bit of a Grogu hater around here. But I've seen it twice already. And the moment Grogu appears on the screen during the first segment, I almost start crying tears of joy. I just love that little fucker. He's fantastic. I love that he's still a puppet and the way they puppeteer him. And I know he still doesn't speak. He definitely had a few more oohs and coos and visual nods. And at this point, Nick, I think League brought this up in our Discord. Maybe he is suffering from PTSD from what happened during Order 66 and getting shuffled around, and he truly just has an issue talking. He hasn't found his voice. I mean, even his daddy Din's like, yo, he doesn't fucking talk. Like, it is what it is. Like, you can't speak to him. But I feel like Grogu kind of was the star. I mean, I think he really helped carry the film. The really a good part of the second half of the movie is Grogu centric, and Nick and I, we kind of talked about that might happen, or we wanted it to happen. I thought the Anzellans were fucking fantastic as well. I mean, just if you just listen to their little conversations and some of the lines that come out of them, and the way they interact and the way they hang out with Grogu, and they kind of fear him, but they love him and respect him, and they help him out. I thought Rada was fantastic. I didn't like Nick going into it. I was like, I don't know what are we gonna do here with Stinky? You know what I mean? Like, we only known him from the Clone Wars movie, and there wasn't much else to know about him. But I think they gave us enough of a backstory. And in fact, not to toot my own horn, because listen, we sucked at the predictions. But when I remember some of my trailer breakdowns for this movie, Nick, I kind of set up the whole Rada thing almost perfectly, thinking that he might have been outcast there, or that the twins were kind of screwing with him. And, we learned that was kind of the case, and that he ultimately, the New Republic needed Din to interface with him, and him and Din, might link up. So I enjoyed Rada so much, I may now buy the hot toy. I mean, I've been on a bit of a hot toy streak the past 2 months, and it sucks for my bank account, but they've been releasing some great ones. And when I see a Star Wars property like this that moves me, leaves an impression on me, the way I am as a fan, I always honor that by spending a lot of money on toys. And I don't think I'm ever going to get over that shit. But I think I'm going to get the Rada. I might get the new Din and Grogu. I've even considered getting the new life-size Grogu from Hot Toys. So we'll see. But I felt like it had good action beats. I heard people didn't like Ludwig's score. I actually kind of dug the score, especially the Shikari Moon, banger. I thought that was all fun. I mean, if I had to complain about something, I wish there was a little more tie-in to the MandoVerse at large, even if it was just a quick comment from Colonel Ward or something like that. But it was pretty much restricted to the Mandalorian, what we've known about Din and Grogu. And, hey, it was fine. But I would have liked a bit more fleshing out or setting up for things to come. You could have had Ward say something about Coin, like, oh yeah, Coin mentioned Thrawn, or blah, blah, blah. But we didn't get any of that shit. So we'll talk about that more in our predictions and once revisiting here. Sadly, it did fizzle out by week 2, which is something Nick and I were kind of questioning what would happen there. I mean, it completely fell off a cliff, and people are going to use that as ammo to throw tomatoes at Disney and Mando and Grogu, but who cares? Like, if you enjoyed it, good for you. Hopefully you got to go with family and friends, because I'll tell you what, one of my favorite things, Nick, the first time I went, I took my daughter and her friend. We were at the beach, and as soon as Lucasfilm came up on a big screen, it was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, man, it has been too damn long since we've seen Star Wars on the big screen, and I do think it earned itself as a theatrical experience. So Um, I guess one other thing that kind of stood out to me is like, come on, guys, like, can we stop it with the cameos? But I really felt like the cameos by the directors and creatives were beyond stiff. I appreciate Filoni, but he's fucking terrible on screen, like absolutely terrible. With Deborah Chow was in there, some of the other ones, and it's just like I know what you guys are doing. I would do the same thing if I got to play in this sandbox, but it was kind of bad. And just another other thing, I don't know if people picked this up. I did read the credits a bit, but Scorsese's character, his name was Hugo Durant, which we know another Durant of that alien type. I forget what those aliens are called, but they are introduced in Solo. But Rio Durant from Solo, that Favreau voice. So I'm thinking Hugo and Rio might have some relations there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kramer, Tiva was in the movie. He shows up towards the end there. And then Ben, the aliens you're talking about with the spears, those are actually appeared, I believe, in Return of the Jedi. Those are the Amani, and I think you could see one of them in Jabba's palace. But I know I've been talking a lot here, and I will give Nick the mic in a second. But while we're speaking about the Hutts, you nailed it. Like I loved going to Nal Hutta, which is a planet I said we may go to. I thought Shikari would have been Nar Shaddaa, but we did at least get to go to Nal Hutta, and we've never seen the Hutt homeworld. And I love how they portrayed it. I loved how the twins' lair was set up. I loved how there were other Hutts in there, and that they really do live like fucking slugs, right? I mean, they're in holes, and we got to see Hutts move. We got to see Hutts fight, and I thought it was an interesting choice. I mean, did you like how they made Rada and the twins and whatnot? Yeah. How they moved and fought?
I mean, it makes sense, right? Like when you have a body like a slug, you just kind of are limited in your movement,
flop around and roll around.
You got to work with what nature gave you. But I think that like overall, what was really impressive was the fact that they were able to figure out how to make a Hutt seem realistic in his movement, and also seem like, hey, like we saw the pictures of Rada before, and it's like this ripped Hutt, and we're like, well, what the fuck is this going to be? But then when you see the fight, you're like, okay, this makes sense. Like, this doesn't feel like a stretch. This feels like,
he's a gladiator.
It's like it's a natural way for this type of creature to move. So I didn't feel off put by it. But yeah, I mean, the only other place that I had experienced Nal Hutta before was through Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO. That's a starting planet if you're playing on the dark side. If you're a dark side user and you start as a bounty hunter, or if you start as an Imperial agent, you start on Nal Hutta. So it was interesting to see, and there were some things that were kept between the game.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask, were there did they kind of, was it a boggy, marshy, living world, living planet type of setup in that game?
Very, very similar to, very boggy, very marshy, like kept the same kind of color palette. And then I love, like you said too, like, seeing the inside of a Hutt's lair and seeing how it is really organic and how it fits the lifestyle of the creatures that we know that also exist on Earth, of the same ilk. So I thought they did a really great job of establishing that planet and really building off of the surroundings and making it make sense for the Hutts. So big fan of that. I think like one of the criticisms that because I did see it with a group of people. So I saw it with Taylor, my fiance, and three other friends. So we had a group of 5. Everybody there other than Taylor was, Star Wars fan, had seen TV shows, had seen The Mandalorian, and everybody enjoyed it. But the chief criticism that I heard was some of the that some of the characters just spoke in too plain of English, right? It's like you hear Rada talk and he's just talking like a normal,
he's talking like Jeremy Allen White.
And then you hear the twins, or you hear Jabba, or you hear these other Hutts. I mean, I guess Zero was the only other one that had kind of a normal voice, and most people don't even know who Zero the Hutt is unless you've watched animated series. So that was the chief one. It's like, well, why were there not more weird speaking intonations? But Overall, I was super pleased with how the presentation of Nalhutta was, how the presentation of the Huts were. Overall, with Rada's character, I really enjoyed that. And then also, yeah, I mean, when I saw like when the movie first started, and it was like Martin Scorsese, I was like, who the fuck is Scorsese going to play in this? And then as soon as we get to the the little sandwich shop that they're at, and and I heard the voice, I was like, that's
Yeah.
Scorsese.
He did good. He did good. I mean,
Yeah.
I like that guy. I mean, Hugo is a fun little character, fun moments there. You know, they did play the Grogu gag a bit on how he likes to eat. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
if it was overplayed or not, but he was always eating in like the first half of the movie. So, Kramer, yeah, the battle droids, the droid Gatra, I appreciate them as well. And apparently, the droid Gatra it's either from Legends or it has existed before, and this might be the first time they were canonized. But I did like how those, they're literally like a droid syndicate, and they've repurposed themselves. Some of them, they're wearing like crazy ass headdresses and headpieces. They still sucked. I mean, they weren't very efficient both in the sky and on the ground. But it is cool to see that like some of these droids from the prequel era ultimately became sentient and created their own syndicate to protect other syndicates. So I am with you, Kramer. I did like those. Well, you know what? Speaking about things I liked, let's go through a few top moments I had, and then we'll see if I missed any that Nick wants to bring up. But I honestly, I think right from the get-go, I loved the snow-based segment from start to finish. It would have been nice to get like a planet name to, confirm if that was Ilum or whatever. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of like the cheese of the Imperial Warlord and that scene where he's shaking down like the local planet governors or tribesmen, whatever you want to call it, and just the way Din was introduced, kind of coming through like a ninja, reestablishing that he is a badass motherfucker, if you know what I mean. And then I think Grogu had a good introduction. Obviously, the at segment was fun to watch. I thought it was funny when Grogu sees the detonators, like, "Hey, come on, Dad, let's go!" Like tap 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 tap. He's like, "Come on, motherfucker!" You can see how nervous he's getting, and Din's like, "I got this." So I really enjoyed that. We've brought him up a few times, and I was wary going in, but I really did meeting Rada and seeing him kind of progress throughout the film. I'm glad that it seems like he may be a persistent character now if we do get more MandoVerse content. And I would love to see what sort of uniform Zeb has dug up for him. That would be very interesting to see what they dress Rada up in as a member of the New Republic. Nick, I found the coin extraction and the subsequent dogfight to be pretty good. I know they they pulled another Grogu gag, but it kind of worked. Him and Rada at the Razor Crest there.
Yep.
Pushing buttons left and right. But I thought the dogfight was fun, and Din having to kind of unfuck the stock Razor Crest that the Ward gave him mid battle was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I mentioned these guys. I think when the Anzellans and Grogu head out to save Din, like even Grogu, going through a little battle montage and packing in the charges and his pouch, his gauntlet, and his shield, and then they go to that tiny ass ship. Like
Dude, it was so great.
Right? I mean, the Anzellan ship may be one of my most favorite vehicles of all time because it's like you see it at Navarro's port, the way they film it. You're like, all right, it's a ship, but then when you get up close, you're like, holy shit, man! I mean, that thing is like a Hot Wheels. It's like a Hot Wheels starship.
It was great, dude. It was great. I loved how they made the Anzellans and Grogu. I love how they had their own separate story, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love how it wasn't just Grogu tagging along, and it wasn't just the Anzellans showing up as like, here, let me fix your ship. It was like they had their own dedicated part of the movie, and it made sense to put those characters together, right? It's like you already have this one key character that's small. We were introduced to Anzellans in Rise of Skywalker,
Babu.
and yeah, and then they come back in, and it just feels like such a natural fit for this particular movie. It was fantastic. That was one of my favorite parts of the film, was just the fun that you had with Grogu and the Anzellans. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I love those guys. I don't know if I love them enough to buy the life-size Anzellan from Hot Toys, but man, they are Because that was another thing. Like in the trailers, you knew they were going to link up, and we kind of, I think, again, might have speculated that they may be on their own mission to help Din out. But that ship just killed me. I mean, even Grogu looked oversized in that ship. And then
Yep, yep.
they save Din and they roll up, and Grogu's like, "Hey, come on, man, you got this." He's like, "Yo, I can't." I mean, Din would literally have to sit on top of it and strap himself to the ship for it. I don't even know if it could take off with him on it, but man, they are funny. If you go see it again. And I do encourage everyone to see it at least twice in theaters because I don't think it's going to last long. And it looks great on IMAX. I didn't really get to see it in a top notch theater out at the beach, so that's one of the reasons I went to see it again. But man, if you just listen to the Anzellans and some of the conversations they have and the way they talk to each other, like, "Oh man, hey man, I thought you were dead." And it's like, yeah, and they land. They're like, "Hey, come on, big guy, first drinks on me." It's just
Yeah.
they're fantastic little characters, and the way they interacted with Grogu, it didn't feel stupid or silly. It actually felt like, yeah, this could happen. These little things could save or help save a Mandalorian. I enjoyed kind of the whole Din being taken out for 20 or 30 minutes. All right.
Yeah.
I think this is something we talked about in our pregame for this movie. And I'm glad that they kind of made Grogu go through the paces of not wanting to leave his dad and want to take care of him, and building kind of that Yoda style Dagobah structure. I was like, I kind of like that. I mean, I can see that tie to his kind, and Yoda possibly having to mold that whole thing out of mud, and going to that other creature's place and stealing the fish. And I don't know. Like I said, I felt like, even though he didn't talk, I felt like that moment in particular when Grogu has to care for Din, the old take care of the young, then the young take care of the old. This is the way. I thought it played out. It was beautiful to me. I loved it. And it did feel like Grogu, he's not just a side piece. He is a fully functioning member of this team now. And he did earn his name on the billing of this film. I just... it would, listen, I'm a dad. There's some of that comes into play, but it was sweet. Like just seeing him there, like poking his head, like, "Come on, man, wake up," or, nestling in his arm after he gives him the juice. Before I go into any more top moments, what did you think about Embo overall? Did you like how mysterious they kept him and not a lot of talking? I mean, did you like the way he looked in live action?
Yeah, I thought, like, I enjoyed the look of it. Here's my thought on it overall. It's like he was purely in there for the hardcore of hardcore fans. Like
Yeah.
you could have made that character anybody. Like, and realistically, it didn't matter if it was Imbo or not. He was just in there for people like us who would recognize him. So overall, like, glad that we got to see that character in live action. I think he was well designed. I think that the fights and everything that happened with the character and Din worked really well. But again, it was just one of those things. I wouldn't even call it fan service, really, because I don't even think enough fans of Star Wars actually know who
Right.
he is.
I mean, he did look kind of cool. I mean, did you like his
absolutely.
live action style? I mean, I think he looked pretty great. And hey, listen, he foiled the Mandalorian. I mean, I guess you could blame it on Din thinking about the little guys, because the whole reason he gets captured, when he runs out, he hears the Anzellan screaming after Embo's dog Kaibu or Kembo or something like that picks it up. And that kind of distracts him, and he hits that booby trap. But I think Embo proved that he may not be at the exact same level as Din, but he's pretty damn close. I mean, they had a pretty even duel there at the end, even though you could argue Din wins that. But I was impressed with Embo's capabilities. He wasn't just like some chump ass bounty hunter that the twins hired.
Yeah, no, I was a fan. I liked how they incorporated him into the film. And, like I said, it was cool for a character that could be a throwaway to be a reference for the hardcore fans. And I don't think that him being in there, like, put people who didn't know who he was in an awkward position. Like they never made a point to be like, oh, you should know who this is, or this is somebody from Star Wars history. Like it was just like, if you know, if you don't, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, he served as the twins' bounty hunter. He was there to do a job. And do you think, if we see him down the line in the MandoVerse, is there bad blood between him and Din, or does Din understand the bounty hunter code and Embo just had to do what he had to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think as somebody who was kind of raised in the bounty hunter way of life, you kind of have that understanding. We had seen it a little bit previously in animated series with Boba Fett, where it's like, bounty hunters just hunt bounties. It's like, it's not personal for the most part.
Right.
Even in Legends, when you get later into Legends books, Boba Fett and Han Solo team up together, and it's like, look, bro, I don't dislike you as a person. Boba Fett says to Han, it's like, people just want you dead and they pay me to kill you, and if I fail, I fail. So it's never been personal. It's all about the job. So I think that's kind of the credo that Mando would take as well, is like, look, man, like, we're all out here trying to make a dime. So you do what you got to do, but I'm also going to try to not get killed. So
Yeah, I would like to see them kind of cross paths again, because I think now if Embo went after Grogu or did anything there, then yeah, it would be over. I mean, see ya, you're on the hit list. But I do think ultimately Din would forgive, or at least recognize that Embo was hired to do a job and he was there to do it to its fullest. So I got two more top moments, and we'll see if Nick had any that I missed. I really did like the whole Din and Grogu storming the twins' palace. They kind of Din lays it out there. It's like, hey, buddy, we got two choices. Like, we can run and always be on the run from these slugs, or we can go fuck them up because, A, they saw my face. And I did like that. I mean, I understood why we had to remove the helmet. Pedro is so big of a star these days. He's not just going to be a voice actor. And speaking of Pedro, do you think he had anything to do with Brendan and Lateef getting top billing credits, both at the start of the movie and when the end credits rolled, being the other performers of Din?
yeah, I mean, I would hope so, and I think so. I mean,
because Brendan and Lateef were right there with Martin Scorsese. I'm like, damn, think about that for stunt people. That is probably like the biggest recognition stunt actors have ever gotten.
Oh yeah, and realistically, like, the Mandalorian would not exist without those two.
True.
I mean, they've been in the suit with Pedro since season 1. They bring the physicality, they bring the presence that you expect to see, and then Pedro being the public face of that character kind of brings it all together. So you really do need all three of those core pieces to create Din Djarin as we know him, and the Mandalorian as he's been presented on the small and now big screen. So I like that is definitely something, like a deep cut that like only hardcore fans would know.
Yeah.
But when those beginning credits ran up and it was like Pedro Pascal, Lateef Crowder, Brendan, I was Brendan Wayne. I was like, holy shit!
I know. I was like, damn.
Put them right there, front and center. And I was
before Scorsese. I mean, it's like, Jesus. So good for them. I mean, I know people in the stunt community, and they love what they do, but they typically are treated like trash. I mean, there's still the one part of cinema that does not get an Academy Award, which absolutely makes zero sense to me. So I did love the storming of the palace. Din kind of getting his revenge. Saving of Rada, the hut fight was very interesting to see. Just like these big fatzos sliding around. And I was impressed with the twins themselves. I thought they would be kind of lackadaisical and not able to keep up with a gladiator trained hut. But I know it was 2-on-1, but they put up a good fight there for a little bit. And of course we got Grogu's big force save there, saving his new friend Rada. How about when they're on a Delphi base and Rada and Grogu are playing in the surf? Shit like that. I mean, it might be tacky to some people, but I loved it. I was like, that. It shows you he really is not a traditional Hutt, and he's definitely not his father. And speaking of his father, he really must have been a fat slug, because he did not move. I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think he can move like his son, and I don't think he can move like his relatives, the twins.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like Hutt culture kind of follows like really kind of old feudalist culture, where it's like the fatter you are, the richer you are, the more well respected you are. And he was the big Hutt at the time, and he was big physically, couldn't move, put himself in a position to where he could get choked out by somebody who was literally chained to him. But yeah, I mean, like those moments and things like that are definitely, like more impactful if you had seen the series and understand like Grogu's character a little bit more and understand that like he is essentially a child still, and he is, this kind of fun loving character that, has a has a connection with not only his father but also nature, and like being able to
Yeah,
see those
playing with those
interactions. And
lightning bugs.
yeah, I mean, it was fantastic to see that. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I will say that I didn't like about it, like the interaction between Din and Grogu at one point, was like when he was speaking initially, like they were speaking to somebody and he was like giving Grogu commands like a dog.
Yeah, the
Like
heel. Yeah, I'm with
I
you. That seems weird. He said it twice. He's like, Grogu,
yeah,
heel, heel. It's like, hey, motherfucker.
yeah,
I mean, he's your boy. Like he's not a
yeah,
goddamn dog. I'm
yeah.
with you.
I don't know what led them to do that. I don't know if they thought it would be funny, but it just like it essentially went against every instance that we had seen Grogu and Din like together, and like their relationship is, it was never
I
like a
think he had
master.
said it in like the TV series, maybe when they first met or season 2 when they weren't quite as bonded. But I do believe he has used that before, and even then it felt kind of off, like you're saying. Like it just he's not a goddamn pet.
Yeah.
He's your liege. I mean, he's your apprentice.
Yeah, exactly. Like the bond has moved beyond that. Like you said, maybe that happened earlier in the series and stuff, but like I feel like the bond had moved beyond that at that point. So I thought that like if anything in this movie would change, I feel like it's a small moment, but I think it's that one because it just felt so out of place for
Yeah, I'm
how
with you. I'm
they
with you.
interact now.
Hey,
Um, yeah.
real sorry, man. Does anyone know if you're in the live stream chat or not? If you want to join the live stream, we might be doing lives here throughout the summer. They'll be on Wednesdays, 7 p. Eastern, as close as we can get. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. But I'm kind of watching the slide deck go by, and I saw that character that Grogu interacts with in the Now Hottest Swamp, and he's not a Doug, but he kind of looks like an alligator, but he's got like that Sabalba type of face. Whose fucking voice was that? I mean, there were times I thought it sounded like Idris Elba. Other times I was like, damn, that could be Sam Jackson. I didn't know if they got a credit, and I didn't stay around because there wasn't a post-credit scene. I don't know if anyone has looked that up yet, but that voice felt very familiar. The guy that helps
It did.
Grogu with the healing shit.
Yeah, it did as well. I think I looked it up. I think let me
All right.
check
Yeah,
on.
go ahead, because I had one last top moment. So while you're kind of punching that up into the computer there, I again we knew it was coming. There's a lot of Miller time moments in Star Wars, but I love when the Anzellans are the ones that lead the New Republic to Nal Hata, and they're still in their little cruiser, and Colonel Ward and the other X-wing pilots come in, Y-wing pilots come in. It would have been nice if they would have brought that B-wing that we saw on a Delphi base too, but I think I've heard from some people, even my nephew, he didn't quite love Sigourney's performance as Ward, but I thought she did a pretty good job. But I think all of them during that fight at the end, the attack on the twins' base, like I said, it wasn't like the old days of watching X-wing pilots in their cockpit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah,
felt like they were truly in a ride. Someone's lifting it up and down. Or like, yeah, I mean, even Filoni's like, bah, 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 bah. It's like, hey, Dave, no more fucking talking. Just drive the damn thing.
yeah. I think that like I I actually kind of agreed with the Sigourney being a little stiff. Like I do feel like I don't know if it was just like she had very little to do in the film, so like the scenes that she did film, they did quickly, and maybe there wasn't time to get multiple takes or whatever it may be. I did feel like there was some stiffness there, and I did feel like, obviously we already mentioned this, but with the directors and the cameos, like the
Ugh,
creator cameos and stuff like that, definitely a little stiff.
terrible.
I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, like keep it on the small screen, right? Like it's fine in a TV series to show it off, and I understand that as the creator, like you want to, insert yourself in your creation sometimes. And I also understand that like you've already established this group of characters um in the show, but I feel like if you're putting something on the big screen, like you know let's go out of the way to make sure that people who are on the big screen are practiced on the big screen, or at
Yes.
least like professional
Yeah, look
actors
like you
that
know what you're doing.
yeah. So I do agree with that. But like it's to me it's like those were definitely like smaller moments in the film, and I don't think that that would be something that's enough to fully put somebody
No,
off. Like
no.
if it was like Filoni is in this movie for 25 minutes and he's acting like that the entire time, then I can see that like the direct criticism. It's like, okay, this motherfucker
Yeah.
clearly doesn't know how to act. Like, can we
The
get somebody in
CCO title
here?
has gone to his head.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like it's not a perfect movie. Like I'm not saying that this movie is a 10 out of 10. I think that there were some issues with, with acting here and there, especially like I was surprised at how stiff Sigourney was. I thought she was going to be a little bit more comfortable on the screen, but again, like I don't know what her time was like on the set. Like she may have only been there for 2 days and was just like, let's knock these scenes out, and then we just don't have time for a reshoot or for a third take. So it is what it is.
All right. So yeah, I'm with you too. It wasn't a complete home run. If you wanted a rating out of me, I think Nick's 2 thumbs up are appropriate. If you want a score, I'd say an 8 out of 10. And sure, I've got my fanboy glasses on, but I loved it. And there's a chance down the road there's been a lot of good movies released, and believe it or not, I mean, Obsession's out there. I want to see Backroom. I am going to go see Masters of the Universe tomorrow, which is going to definitely knock Mando and Grogu even further down the box office haul. But I may try to get out there one more time and see it one more time on the big screen, because it's just fun. Like there's really no true boring moments. There are some slow parts here or there, but nothing that makes you go like, okay, I just want to get to the next scene. So there you go. You got it from the Star Wars Time Show. We were fans. Unfortunately, it did not catch fire, which I don't know what that says for the future of Star Wars. Apparently, there's a lot brewing. We know Starfighter's coming next May. That's a sure thing. I don't know if you saw it, Nick, but they just kind of resurfaced the Simon Kinberg project and confirmed, yes, it is going to be a trilogy of sorts. They went out of their way to be like, it's not going to be like the sequel. It's all going to be connected. It's all going to be planned out. So that's good news. You just got to hope that this wasn't so bad financially for Disney that again they kind of pull their cards back in and are like, okay, we're gonna pause again for many more years. So
yeah, I mean, if we want to have the financial conversation,
yeah, I was gonna say let's just transition into our wants and predictions revisit, and we'll get to that, because I think we bring it up in both our wants and our predictions. So let's hold for a little bit. But the first one we had, and I think it got paid off on. We just wanted some good old Star Wars fun, and I think we both just kind of related that through our review. So we got that from this movie. Next one here, financial success. There we go, to keep Star Wars movies alive. Well, go ahead, Nick. You're kind of the expert on this one. What do you think's going to happen? I've seen the movie cost anywhere from 165 to maybe it was 250. I think right now worldwide it's only sitting at like 253, 260. So what do you think about this one? We probably did not get it what we were hoping for.
Yeah, I would say that like we definitely didn't get to a point. I think the number we threw out is like, hey, let's see if we can make 500 million. We're gonna come way short. It ain't even gonna be close. Right now, worldwide, it's sitting at 251.
Do you think it'll even beat Solo?
No, that's what I was gonna say. Like realistically, I think that this movie has a hard time cresting 300 million. I think that it's a stretch. I mean, if you look at the days that we've run through recently, June 2nd, June 1st, 2 million, 3 million, like it's a tough slog now. And to be real, Star Wars does not have a very large international appeal because it doesn't have an Eastern audience appeal, and that's what really carries a lot of films to those upper 500 million, 600 million types of numbers. Is a big international haul. Right now, international is sitting at 109 million. So
Oof.
it's not great. It's not great. If you look at the top movies right now that have, that have crested those numbers, Super Mario Galaxy movie, $500 million in foreign box office alone. The Michael Jackson biopic, over $500
That
million
one surprises me.
in
There's a lot
foreign
of people
box
that
office.
are over his supposed wrongs against society. Clearly,
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of blind eyes being turned there, but I
hey,
mean
he's
the
got good
other,
music.
yeah, and like here's the other one. Like this is the most direct kind of competition, for lack of a better term, for
Hail,
Star Wars. Project Hail Mary did
yeah,
336 million in foreign box office compared to 342 million in domestic box office. So you're talking your foreign and domestic are nearly even. Star Wars, right now, Mandalorian and Grogu, 142 million domestic, 100 million in terms of foreign. So it's just like it doesn't have that appeal to carry it over those landmarks. And as I had said before this movie even released, when it was first announced, you have a very limited audience with who you're actually approaching here. Like there's a lot of people, and I know that, Jon Favreau came out and said you don't need to see the show to understand the movie, but like when your movie is built after a show and it's named after a character from a show, people are going to have assumptions that you need to understand the show to go out and see it. And I think that that was a huge hurdle. I also question, and like, I also question Disney's thoughts on like on the summer release. Let's be real. Like every financially successful Disney film has released, or Disney Star Wars film has released in the Christmas holiday time period.
yeah,
It's just like, even after the debacle that happened with Last Jedi, followed up by the summer release of Solo, which made the lowest box office at that time, you still come back around to Rise of Skywalker that releases in the winter window, in that Christmas window, and makes over $1 billion. And then what do they do with this film? They're like, let's shove it in summer again, where our last one flopped. And it did the exact same thing. So it's just like, it's a question of like, are they looking at this summer movie window and then thinking like, oh, but like you said, 40 years ago, that's where
yeah.
Star Wars made bank. But realistically, since 2016, Star Wars has made the most money in a Christmas release window. So I question the release timing. Um, the appeal of this movie was always going to be limited to the TV audience, and we're seeing that in stark reality right now. Like you came out and you met expectations,
Ain't a
which were
Skywalker
already
flick, that's for sure.
definitely not a Skywalker flick. But then again, like you look at non-star, like you look at Rogue One, not a Skywalker flick, and
Winter
also
release.
like very ambiguous in terms of what this movie is actually talking. Like Rogue One, like what the fuck does that mean to most people? But you see the Death Star, and you're like, oh, okay, it's a movie about the Death Star at least, and then you see the Vader and things like that, and people lose their minds. But this one, it was always going to struggle, and it did. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that what Star Wars needs to realize now is that you need to, for me, what Star Wars needs to become is a film franchise. If we're still gonna, if like if the franchise is going to continue exist on the big screen, is a franchise that has a very strict budget. Like we're not spending more than $250 million on production and marketing combined. That is our top. That's as much as we will spend. You need a strict budget, and you also need creativity. You need the movies to be creative. You need the movies to be fun, and you need the movies to be thought provoking. I think those are the three main pillars that really made Star Wars what it was. The original trilogy was creative because they had to be. There wasn't unlimited funds for them to just go out and do whatever they wanted. Like they had, like the creators had to be creative with their budget, creative with their like how they were doing things. It had to be fun because that's what ultimately will get people out, is like, if people think that it's a fun movie to watch, they will go see it. And it needs to be thought provoking. Star Wars from the beginning was always thought provoking, whether it be the stories about like your hero's journey with Luke Skywalker and what's going on with the Empire, or if you're looking at like the most successful thing, at least critically recently, Andor is like a commentary on what is happening now in our society, and it's very thought provoking. I think that if you make those your three pillars of Star Wars and you limit your budget, you can still see success. But Star Wars, I think the days of it being $1 billion franchise are like
It's
really
over.
reigning over these box offices. I just don't think that that's going to happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's tough for any franchise in this day and age of cinema. But yeah, I think you nailed it. I think Starfighter, very much more so than Mando and Grogu, is much better set up to kind of hit Nick's three pillars. So fingers crossed, but yeah, we did not get a financial success here. So next one, Grogu as a character, not just a gag. I think that kind of paid off. I think we kind of got that. I mean, he became his own guy. He mustered up the Anzellans and then ultimately took care and saved Din. So that one paid off. Thrawn talking, yeah, none of that. So we didn't get any of that type of action in this. And, I think that goes back to what Nick was saying about what makes Star Wars compelling and might get people word of mouth. It was a very contained story to just what the Mandalorian Grogu has been focusing on. So we did not get that fan want. Well, new Razor Crest explainer. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I know you weren't too hot on the Razor Crest being resurrected, but it was Colonel Ward's way of enticing Din to kind of go on a mission he didn't necessarily want to go on, so we did get that. No callbacks to Mando Season 3 outside of Grogu's chest plate that I think the armor made him. That was about it. No post-Order 66 era flashback. I was a bit surprised on this one. I think there were moments for it, especially when he was meditating in between waiting for a way to figure out how to resurrect Din. Did not get that. Din's legendary status expanded. I think that one was checked off. I mean, once again, he proved that he is one of the biggest badasses in the galaxy. And even though, Ward calls him out, he's like, I'm an independent contractor. She's like, sure you are, Mando. It's like, I mean, he is single-handedly helping the New Republic vanquish the Remnant and trying to get intel to take out other targets and figure out what they're up to. So I do think Din is quite the legendary character for this era of Star Wars. Strong movie style world building. What do you think on that one?
I mean, I think that they did good world building in terms of like now expanding, like the Star Wars universe is ever expanding, like now expanding into a new planet that explains a lot more about how culture. So I think that they did a really good job with
Yeah.
that.
New character through Rada.
Yeah, new character with Rada now. Likely, I mean, as far as we can tell, likely sticking around to be a part of the crew, maybe through this New Republic era. So I think that there were some good world building elements there. I think that also just the inclusion of the Anzellans within the New Republic time period too. Like now that these guys are kind of like the handymen of the galaxy.
Yep.
for lack
they
of
are
a better word.
the mechanics, as Zeb likes to say. So all right, that one kind of paid off here. Set up for what comes next in the MandoVerse. I'd say very minimal on that one, right, Nick?
Yeah, not too much there.
I mean, yeah, hey, the New Republic, they took out a few bad guys. They realized the Hutts are bad guys, and they added a Hutt to their ranks, but that's about it. So not much going on there. All right, so here comes our predictions. These are the things that we thought would happen, and makes less than 500 million worldwide. While I don't want to celebrate this one, that is going to be a prediction that definitely hits. Yeah. So unfortunately, Nick had a good explainer on that one. So we'll move on. Thrawn is mentioned, but no appearance until the end, or Stinger. That was a complete fail. Like we said, they didn't even remotely scratch what happened in Ahsoka. There was zero mention. It was still kind of tied to that Shadow Council thing that they set up in Mandalorian Season 3. Ezra and Hare are mentioned but don't get on screen. Fail as another one. Like I think we might have been getting a little too wishful there in terms
Yeah, I
of
thought that
fans.
like I don't know if you cut it was in the very beginning when they were still on Adelphi, like when they were still like before they had set off to Nalheta. I thought I had seen the back of Hera's head, but it was like in the background, like probably wasn't her, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe that's her,
All
but
right.
yeah,
So Nick's
not
giving us half credit on that one. I'll
maybe
take it
half
just in
credit.
case. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Next one, we'll see a flashback featuring Kelleran and Grogu. That was an absolute fail as well. Like I said, I think there could have been room for it, but the movie again, I mean, it was over 2 hours, so it might have been getting a little long, and they just decided to no, we're going to focus on Grogu. He can't be off in La La Land. He's got to kind of save his dad. So we did not get a new flashback, unfortunately. Grogu has a major, meaningful Force moment. I don't know. I mean, would you? Yeah, sure. He healed Din. That didn't really save him, though. He actually had to use his wits and his abilities as a Mandalorian to kind of figure out a way to save Din. I guess we could say this one was in the saving of Rada, right? I mean, sort of. If we
Yeah.
want to give ourselves a pass on that one.
Yeah, semi. I mean, like he definitely like he made meaningful efforts to help out the team. And like was it like was it like a TV, like Mandalorian TV show style save where it's like he stops the fire or he picks up the whatever. Like it wasn't one of those, but he showed that he has now gotten a little bit
It's
more
pretty.
control over his force
Yeah,
abilities.
it's pretty strong for a little guy. I mean, you got to think Luke was a fully grown human, and he was bitching and moaning about trying to do an X-wing. And I'm not saying Rada weighs as much as an X-wing, but he weighs a lot compared to the little dude. So, or Nick, you could argue it's when he keeps jamming his dad's head into a tree
Yeah,
trunk in the
just
forest.
pushes.
Rada and Din work together after arena fight. Hey, nailed it. I don't know if that was such a bold prediction, but Rada did try to get away, and he kind of they caught him in the end, but ultimately they became buddies, and I did kind of dig that. Colonel Ward doesn't make it. Well, we were way wrong on that one. I don't know if we'll see her again, but she definitely did not perish. I'm not sure why I was thinking that might be a thing. I think maybe both of us were thinking she might have been more of a prominent character, but no, she was just a mission giver and then a Miller timer at the end. So Sigourney's legacy lives on. Maybe we'll see Ward again. Hut twins or toast? Nailed this one. I like that they kind of made it a forced issue with removing Din's helmet, and so we don't have to go through all that bullshit of him feeling bad and having to go swim in the pools of Mandalore again. Like, I mean, he's like, hey, yeah, you took my helmet off, but if I actually kill you, it negates the sin against my creed. And I think it was a good way for them to die. They almost killed themselves, right? I mean, their greed and wanting to take over Rada's claim and fighting him and being overweight and falling through in their own kind of creatures of death that they've used to kill other people ended up eating them. And I did like that the snake sucked them down, because snakes can eat some pretty big prey. I liked when he went back under and you could see those huge bulges there.
Yeah, the two lumps. Yeah.
Din survives, but his mortality is established. I think that one kind of hit as well. I mean, the poison there. I kind of like that scene where Din's doing everything he can to kind of get the little people to their ship. And then he runs away and he's taking out as many more droids as he can. Then he just ultimately succumbs to the poison. And I think they made the point, like, listen, there is going to be a time where Grogu may be the one fully taking care or kind of taking charge of this duo. So I think that one paid off. Film ends with a bridge towards Ahsoka season 2. Well, yeah, the New Republic survives, so I guess there's that. And they got intel from Coin. I mean, who knows where that may lead, but there was nothing direct. So this one is more of a fail, I would say.
Yeah. There were opportunities, but like Filoni said in the lead up, like they wanted to just kind of leave this movie clean and see how that it does on its own without having to be linked to something else.
Yeah, and I think that was our last one. Yeah, we're it. So hey, there you go. Like, hey, it's not our usual batting average when it comes to new Star Wars preseason predictions, but not terrible. I think we got a little too fan canon in our head, thinking like, yeah, let's start tying this stuff together. Let's get something set up for Ahsoka season 2. Favreau said the next season of Mandalorian would have definitely led into the events of season 2, and I think we took that a bit too seriously in the end. So it is what it is. It was a fun movie. You haven't seen it yet, just go out and have fun. You know, don't go into it all angry. Hopefully you haven't read some of these reviews or gone on social media where the people literally just exist to, you know, shit on Star Wars at this point in time. It's not nearly as bad as some of the naysayers made it. So, all right. I forgot to do question of the week this week. So the fan segment for this episode, our return episode of Star Wars Time Show, is going to be a bit slimmer than usual. Maybe we'll bring the QOTW back next week. We got to think about what we might even discuss. Yeah. I've been seeing some other channels go around, and I might kind of steal from them. I think Beyond the Dune Sea just did it today. They just hit 10K, by the way, so you know, good for them. Kudos, boys.
Congratulations.
But they kind of just did a re-ranking of the movies now that a new one came out, so that might be an easy layup topic next week. You know, go through the 13 films again and see where we could slot in the Mando and Grogu. Does it take the bottom spot? Is it coming in the middle? So who knows? We'll all think about it, and as always, you'll kind of get a tease of what next week's show will be about around next Monday or Tuesday. So Nick, let's go ahead and close this one out with the one half of our fan segment. We do it every week when we're live here, and it's the top 5. If you want to get involved, this one is all handled through our Instagram page at StarWarsTime.show. Use the hashtag StarWarsTimeShow, but more importantly, you got to do add tag at StarWarsTime.show for your shots to be considered. One of us, typically Nick, will sit down and pick his 5 favorite from the week of those tag shots, and that is what we have for you now.
That is right. So to kick off the top 5 this week, we have Mr. Jedi, Mr. Jedi on Instagram, and he's given us an awesome shot here of a stormtrooper on a dewback, on the back of a dewback. And I mean, really, this shot, like, really good use of atmosphere, or it might be atmosphere. It might just be like straight up background, but like looks like there's almost like a little bit of cloud work in the back.
Oh no, he said practical effects, smoke, lighting, miniature photography. It's no AI used. No AI used.
No AI used. Never AI used right here. But I mean, yeah, just a sick looking shot. Dewback is one of those creatures that we see sometimes here and there in toy photography, but I think it's one of the cleaner looking like animal figures from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
He looks good. He looks like he's having a snack. Oh, excuse me, in this shot. So yeah, I'm with you. Good shot from Mr. Jedi. All right, next one here.
Next up, we have _MARCO.
This is perfect.
The Marco. And yes, you know, talking about Mandalorian and Grogu. Here's our little buddy here. This is straight from the film itself when he's doing his meditation on the tree stumps. We see Grogu in meditation, sitting amongst the fireflies, sitting amongst the branches and the trees of now.
I feel like he even added a little tuft of hair to it, because I don't think the little Black Series figure comes with hair.
Oh, yeah,
I could be mistaken, but
yeah, he's got his little peach fuzz on top of his head of Grogu there.
Now that we're looking at this, didn't you love that Grogu grabbed a staff that looked very much like Yoda's?
Yeah,
when he was kind of traversing through the swamp of Nalhada.
That was great. It was just like, you see all these little callbacks, you see all these little moments where it's like, oh yeah, like Yoda used to have his little cane and all the things.
It is his baby.
It's his baby. Maybe that's what we'll find out eventually, is that Yoda, and like we said from the beginning, Yoda and Yaddle, they were the only two species of those creatures. Maybe
I think he pretty much had Dooku take her out so it wouldn't get out there that he broke the Jedi way. All right.
That could be it.
This is a good one here from _Marco with a bunch of periods.
Yes, right. So next up, we have 501st Hard Case. 501st Hard Case giving us just a classic trooper look here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, walking on a chicken walker. So if you go over to the second frame here, you'll see the full shot with the
ATRT. It's like what we saw Din and Grogu riding on in the opening sequence.
Yes, yes, exactly one of those. And then you can see another trooper there kind of wading through the swamp and
That is
stuff.
cool.
Just
I like the full shot. I'm glad you told me to shift over there. I mean,
yeah,
the
yeah.
close up was good too, but that second shot, it really kind of shows the scale. So good work here from 50 First, the hard case, all one word on Instagram.
That's right. Next up, we got
Here we
some
go.
Mando and Grogu again, this time joined by their good friend Bo-Katan Kryze.
Where were you,
Uh,
Bo?
yeah, it was a where's Bo? Where's the rest of the Mandos at? But Bo's busy. Bo's trying to get the whole Mandalorian culture and every on Mandalore all
That's right.
up and running again. She's a little busy right now. She didn't have time for hut nonsense. But awesome shot. I love the explosion of sand in the background. I love the posing of both Mando and of Bo-Katan. And then you just have little Grogu there,
There he
right there,
is
just hanging
with his
out,
little ball.
just hanging out, holding on to the shifter ball. All fun and games with Grogu all the time. So good shot here from Clone Wars 501st on Instagram. And then to close out the top 5 this week, this one was so cool. I love the perspective of this shot.
Exactly.
This is from On Golden Panda Baba, and it's giving us a look, an alternate angle of episode 1 when Watto tosses the chance cube up, and then Qui-Gon Jinn is there to use his little force magic
cheater
on it. Yes, cheats to make sure that the dice rolls his way. But it's a perspective shot from above the two characters, really kind of seeing the chance cube go in the air and seeing Qui-Gon's hand. Really awesome shot here from On Golden Panda Baba.
Yeah, I like that. They like, yes, I know Watto should be throwing the chance cube down instead of up, but it looked cooler this way. And you're right, On Golden Panda Baba. You nailed that creative license for sure.
That is correct. You're out here making art. You can take some creative liberties. So that is it. That's the end of the top 5. And that's the end of our show for this week. If you have not seen Mandalorian and Grogu, do yourself a favor. Go out and watch it. You will enjoy it. If you're a Star Wars fan, whether you've seen the show or not, go see it. It's worth, go see a matinee. It's worth the $6 for the ticket. Just go out there, see it, support the license.
He's not wrong. Like I said, I might go for a triple. You never know. We'll see. I'm trying to catch up on a bit of a backlog. I've used for the first time I think this year, Nick. I'm going to use all 4 of my AMC A-list passes this week. I did Mando Grogu Sunday. I did Obsession Monday. Great film, by the way. Made it for $250,000, and it's already made over $100 million. That's just absolutely insane.
Crazy stuff.
Tuesday, I went and caught Pressure, the World War II movie about weather, believe it or not. And then just because I'm a sucker for summer and tentpole and 80s franchises, I am going to see Masters of the Universe tomorrow, even though I think it looks pretty fucking terrible. But I'll report back on that next week. Hey, Baron, you missed it. We paid homage to your DCC. You'll have to rewind it, but you got us. I'm fully in. Book 1 is complete. Book 2 is right here. Starting it tonight. Can't wait. I'm actually super excited to read a book, which is something I never thought I would say in my adult life. But the show must come to an end. We'll be back here next week. Like I said, just stay tuned to our socials to see what we're going to get into. We may be re-ranking the movies now that we have a new one to kind of throw into the mix. But you never know. Maybe something will pop up. And I'm not talking about that thing underneath my desk. All right, my friends, there's always time for Star Wars time. And if you have someone that might be into a more uncivilized podcast, let them know where they can find us. We're on Spotify. We've got the YouTube channel. We're here most Wednesdays live or whenever we feel like changing it. All right. You know how we do it when we close this thing out. No, I already said that. See, it's been a few weeks, people. I'm trying to get back on the horse here. If you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, if you consume our content, the Force will be with you always.